Hi, I'm Jeff Stokes. Welcome to Jeff's Daily Dose of Encouragement. Today I want to encourage you about what God is really like. A lot of people, especially non-Christians, but also Christians, still haven't grasped what God is really like, and often people make the mistake of looking at God in the Old Testament, or some of the things that God did and some of the judgments that he did, and think that he's a nasty, angry, tyrannical person, and don't really get the right idea, and seem to miss out other aspects and things like that. And often there's people, especially unbelievers or skeptics or whatever, they use that as an excuse not to believe in the Lord. But what God is really like is revealed in one particular verse in the Bible, in the New Testament, in the Gospel of John 14 verse 9, and it was where Philip was questioning about God. He hadn't gotten it yet, what God the Father looked like, and he was saying to Jesus, show us the Father. And Jesus said this. Jesus said this in verse 9, he that has seen me has seen the Father. They're very profound words, and that means that Jesus is exactly like the Father and was the full embodiment of the Father. Even though he is the Son, he is an exact replica of the Father as well. You know, like we say in our modern terminology, a chip off the old block. Exactly the same. And so what I will encourage people to do who don't understand who God is or what he's like is go and read the Gospels and get a picture of what Jesus is like, and read the book of Revelation, and that will also tell you what Jesus is like. You know, because he always dealt with people with compassion, but he also will judge the world one day. But he's in this particular time epoch, in this particular age, he's not condemning people, he's trying to save people. So yeah, don't get mixed up between God. See, God in the Old Testament and God in the New Testament are the same God. They're not a different God, but they're having to deal, basically, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but God is having to deal with sin under the old covenant that he made with Israel in a different way to what he does, because he sent Jesus, his son, who then dealt with all the sin. He dealt with all the sin through him so that he could reach humanity that way. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For whosoever shall confess that Jesus is the Son of God, God dwells in him and he in God. God bless you. Have a great day.